Hello, this video is brought to you by my supporters on Patreon and my members on YouTube. Minasan, arigatou gozaimasu. My name is Kurt, and this is my daily Good Life meditation, an exercise that I do every day, a little bit after waking up. It's now 4:54 a.m. I do this to remember my life objectives and principles, those which are outlined in my book, Going Alone, which you can get a copy of from the link down in the description. I also use this time to think about the last 24 hours and how I did with the various challenges and opportunities I met, including while I was asleep, if I had trouble sleeping, and what might have been the cause. I plan for the coming day, and then I ready myself for death. But before I do any of that, I like to read a poem. Oh, and today is day 353 remaining until my retirement begins. It's December 28th, 2023. So for today, we're going to switch back to John Keats. And we're going to read this poem, See the Ship in the Bay is Riding, which I actually touched a couple of days ago, but I'm coming back to it. Here we go. Vocabulary pen at the ready. See the ship in the bay is riding. Dearest Ellen, I go from thee, boldly go, in thy love confiding, over the deep and trackless sea. When thy dear form no longer is near me, this soothing thought shall at midnight cheer me. My love is breathing a prayer for me. When the thunder of war is roaring, when the bullets fly around me, when the rage of the tempest pouring blends the billowy sea and sky, yet shall my heart, to fear a stranger, cherish its fondest hope for thee. This dear reflection, disarming danger, my love is breathing a prayer for me. That's a very nice poem. Very simple. Now I see it better the second time I read it. It's very simple and straightforward. A man headed off to war in a warship, and thinking about the love that he's left behind, who will be thinking about him. Well, he's off fighting at sea. Let me add poem to my list of things to do today. I think I got that one enough. Poem upload. I've been uploading these poems when they come out well to a playlist on my YouTube channel, so I'll do that. Looks like about the 249 mark. 249. All right, poem done. Last night and yesterday. I didn't sleep so well last night. I don't know exactly what it is. I don't recall necessarily being up, but I do remember I wasn't sleeping. And I don't remember why. I don't know why. And I slept in a little bit, about 15 minutes after the alarm went off. I hit the stop button and fell right back to sleep. Which is funny because just last night I was talking with Yumiko over my walk. I was mentioning how I'm sleeping well. And she speculated that it might be because my job has changed. My big project is over, and I'm on a project now that's much easier to manage. And then last night, don't know just why. This happens to me sometimes. And I feel it now. I feel the consequence now. I feel all out of sorts. I don't feel well rested. I feel a little out of ease if I don't get a good solid night's sleep. So, I don't know why, but there's that. I told Yumiko that as we were walking, and I said, yeah, I do have one thing that's bothering me, and that's the dogs. We talked about, Yumiko and I had the most fascinating and interesting discussion as we were walking. How can I almost forgot about this? We were talking about the move to come, and we talked about how in the past moves across the ocean, because this will be the 5th time that we will have made this wholesale change between Japan and America, how in the past we didn't worry even though we didn't realize just how much danger we were in. We talked about the first time that each of us, that Yumiko came, that would actually be time number 6, that Yumiko came to the very first one came to America to Humboldt State University, and I went there too, in a motorhome to be homeless on the streets, and how each of us was just oblivious to the consequence of what we were doing, and we attributed that to our youth and our invulnerability of youth and our great deep and abiding ignorance. And then how after university we went back to Japan and just started from scratch, and then astonishingly, appallingly, the third time after that, which was when we came back to live in Santa Barbara, choosing one of the most expensive cities in the United States. And I slept on the beach. I was homeless again, second time in my life. Got up in the morning, this is before the internet existed, read newspapers and called people from phone booths to find a job. And before Yumiko I came over, and how I wasn't worried in the slightest, even though I had only like $800 in my pocket left. Between me, I was already living on the streets. I wasn't worried in the slightest. And then, of course, going back to Japan with a child in tow when Emily was 3, and how oblivious we were. Well, we did. We were. It's not that we weren't oblivious. It's just that we had a lot of money, so we thought we could throw money at any problem we could have, and that was true. We did. And then the last one after that, which I would guess 1, 2, 3, 4. Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5. This is the 6th one. Then it doesn't really count the first one because I didn't cross the ocean, but Yumiko did. So the 6th one for her. Then the 5th one, coming back to America, and that was the big risky one. Oh my God, that was the big risky one, because I came, I kind of got myself a job I talked myself into a job that I wasn't qualified for, and could have easily been fired. I was on a probationary status for that first year, specifically for that reason, so they could get rid of me if I wasn't qualified. And I got fired from my first project. And what a disaster that would have been if I had been fired at that time. Because I had no skills, no prospect. I had no job back in Japan, no job here, no money. Yumiko would not have been able to support the family back in Japan. That was a horrible, absolute risk. Good Lord. But that was a nosedive of the airplane. We pulled out of that and got back up to cruising altitude where we are now. And here we are now about to do what would be, for me, the 5th time across, and Yumiko the 6th time across, and across the ocean. And I'm more nervous about this one than any other before, when I have no good reason to be nervous at all on this one. Our daughter's grown. She's has a job offer. She'll probably decide on that job offer by the end of the week. She's good. We have no small kid anymore to take care of. Our retirement income is kicking in next year before I go. So I don't have to worry about money. But we've got the money saved up to buy a house. What's to worry about? Yet I'm really anxious about this move. First world problem, I guess. And I told Yumiko last night, getting to the point, that I was nervous about our dogs. It's going to be really expensive to contract with an agency to move the dogs for us. I'm tempted to do that, though, just to make sure it goes smoothly. Yeah, that's my worry. The rest I'm not so worried about. Although I did update my resume over the weekend. I guess I am worried about not having a job, especially until age 62, when Social Security kicks in, because it'll be a little bit tight until then. I have to live on my pension until Social Security starts. That'll be a little bit tight. I mean, no, it won't. It'll be the equivalent of a full-time employee's income in Japan. We can get by on that. What am I worried about? I'm sorry to be so blatant and open, but this is what this meditation is about reflection. And why am I worried at all? I don't believe in free will. All this was, How do you call it? Is it a deterministic universe when there's quantum uncertainty? Out of my hands universe. That's what it is. I guess not all of me is fully bought into that idea. All right. The Good Life Creed, and today I'll linger on the first principle, which is war. The 8 objectives are to be always ready to die, to make good and effective use of time, to develop and maintain good and sound life principles, to cultivate good emotional reactions, to perform good actions, to recognize true limits and true opportunities, to do just one thing at a time, and do that thing slowly and deliberately and carefully, and to maintain my balance. The first principle is war. The purpose of the principle of war, strange sounding name, is that I want to always be enacting war against anything that I believe is true, anything of which I am certain that's of any consequence. Like, I'm certain I like Rocky Road ice cream, but I don't war against that principle because there's little to no consequence to that one. But I do war against my belief that free will is an illusion, because there's a lot of consequence to that one, seemingly, or none, depending on whether I win that war or not. I war against proposals to me of like religious proposals. I war against my assumptions. I war against the status quo, change, everything basically of consequence, because I want to make sure that I'm believing things and doing things for good reasons. And I use the instrument of war is the second principle, which is reason, which I'll talk about tomorrow. That's the principle of war. Let's carry on. Second principle is reason, and then homunculus, Anchorhold, home of good and evil, purpose, atomic principle, nature, pirate ride, maturity, social principle, family, public speaking, temperance, life will not go well, the horror show, that which must be borne, the Feast of Offal, distraction, agency, and the great indifference, the best seat in the house, the Restless Man, the Path of Wildness, the great life adventure, the risk of avoiding risk, sin and damnation, complete oblivion, the season of philosophy, script writing, the bullseye aim, the uphill climb, arena and utility, nothing is enough, the principle of fun, and being prepared. By my count, including war, that's 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35. Getting this down, this process seems to be working good. Okay, now as for today, this is my list of things for today. So today is the 26th day of December, day 353, as I said before. I did the principle of war. My personal list is all of these things I'm going to do. I'm almost halfway through. I get up very early in the morning, so I'll have almost all of these things done before I start work. And then when I start work, I'll have lunch breaks and breaks in between, and in the evening to finish everything off. How did I do yesterday? Yesterday was a busy day. Here's yesterday. You can see I finished everything. This one? Oh, I finished that one too. I just forgot to put the check mark scratch through it. Yesterday I finished everything on the work side, and I finished everything on the personal side, and lots of little notes there from there. And on this evening, I put it on the wrong side. I put it on the work side, but I got a dinner date with Juan and Jolie and her husband, which I'm looking forward to. Yumiko can't make it. She's got to work. But I'll be going to Pasadena for that in the evening, so that's something to look forward to. And then after that, 4 days off, 4-day holiday. That's it, right? Oh, to prepare myself to die. I'm going to spend a little more time doing this a little better than I have in the past, more detail. I'm prepared to die when my affairs are in order, my relationships are sound, and my life's work is complete. So I'll ask myself, Are my affairs in order? Yes, absolutely. Are my relationships sound? Yes, they are in good shape. Is my life's work complete? It's done. There's a file cabinet in there, little portable, two of them, one for taxes, one for personal documents. All the documents are in there. I'm very good about that. I've curated that over the years. All the documents are carefully organized, all of our bank accounts, retirement funds, etc. And there's even a key in there, a little document, and then a duplicate that Yumiko has that explains all of them, including all of the passwords for everything. So that if I was to keel over right now with an aneurysm, Yumiko just has to open up that piece of paper, and it's a roadmap to understand all of our finances. Plus, I've also set up all the retirement accounts to make sure that Yumiko is joint custody on them and has survivorship. So if I die now, or even after our pension kicks in, if I die, Yumiko gets 100% of my pension until she's dead, and vice versa, of course. So yeah, we're covered. That's in order. My relationships are sound. I have nobody that I have any unfinished business with. When I was in Japan earlier this year, I went to the school that I went to, and I stood in front of the principal and the vice principal, the director and the principal. I went to their offices, and in Japanese style, I bowed deeply, and I apologized to them for not being sufficiently grateful for what they did for my family and I in giving me a job after I had lost everything. I'm so deeply grateful for them and taking such good care of me and my family while I was under their employ. They paid me a generous, handsome salary, all benefits. I was basically given a job and treated as a full teacher, just like everybody else. It's just like a teacher that had gotten their credential in Japan, even though I was just an ALT. They treated me so well. They even offered Emily to come go to that private school for free. And I never showed them the proper gratitude. Likewise, all the teachers that worked there. So I came there armed with gifts that I left in the teacher's lounge. There was two teacher's lounge, one for the little kids and one for the big kids. I left gifts. I went around. I said hello to everybody. Like I said, even both of them said, both the director and the vice and the principal, they were both like, "Wow, Japanese style," because I stood up and bowed deeply. So yeah, that made me feel good. That was really a settled thing. I reached out to my mom last week. She didn't return my call, which I don't expect because she doesn't want to have anything to do with me. So that's okay, but I'm doing my best, right? I'm reaching out. So that's all I can do. So yeah, all those are in sound. And then my book is totally done. I mean, I fixed the very last typo. I read it every 2 months because I do those book readings and I read through it. I'm not finding typos anymore. I found that one typo, but it's done. It's exactly what I wanted. My life's work finished. Yeah. And of course, and I said my daughter's complete. My daughter's raised, right? She's the other part of the life work. Now, as for death, let's picture it. Let's imagine that I'm crossing the street in the evening and getting halfway through the crosswalk, and a car makes a left turn and doesn't stop and rolls me right over. Takes out one of the dogs with me too. I don't need to worry about leaving Yumiko behind, like for all the words mentioned before. That could happen. It's almost happened a couple of times. We're very cautious crossing the streets now. Flashlights, I know. Reflective gear. I guess there's nothing more to say to that. It's just that that's one way to picture it. Like I like to picture the ways to die. I know it sounds a little grim and dark, but it's a worthwhile thing. The thing I don't do in these videos yet, though, and is I also picture my loved ones dying. I imagine each of us, Yumiko and Emily and the dogs, how each of us can die. And I don't do it for any voyeuristic, gruesome means. I do it so that I can bring the reality of the real world to bear. To exercise reality in my mind and be prepared. I have a really hard time doing it. It's easier to do it for myself, and I really struggle doing it with others, but I do it. I think I've dwelt on that enough. That's finished for now. Be safe, but not too safe. Take care. I will move forward and up. I will rarely stop, and I will never